Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I am Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Modi addresses Indonesian Parliament, says when India and Indonesia stand together, they reinforce the world's faith that democracy creates opportunities and builds trust. NATO showcases big arms deals in Ankara as US President Donald Trump arrives in Turkey. NATO Chief Mark Rutte calls for a defense industry revolution, urges companies to take more risks. And in FIFA World Cup, the US trounced 4-1 by Belgium in a match overshadowed by allegations of political interference by President Trump. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Parliament of Indonesia in Jakarta today, underscoring the deep-rooted ties between the two countries. Addressing members of the Indonesian Parliament, the Prime Minister said, India and Indonesia stand together at a pivotal moment in history. Prime Minister Modi noted that when India and Indonesia stand together, they reinforce the world's faith that democracy creates opportunities and builds trust. Referring to Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto's remarks on copyright made earlier in the day, Prime Minister Modi said that his friendship with President Prabowo transcends all boundaries of copyright.
प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो ने कॉपीराइट की बात कही थी। मैं उन्हें यही कहूंगा, इस प्रेम पर, इस स्नेह पर, इस दोस्ती पर, इस आदर भाव पर किसी का कॉपीराइट हो ही नहीं सकता। प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो से मेरी मित्रता कॉपीराइट की सारी सीमाओं से परे है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also highlighted the deep historical and strategic ties between India and Indonesia. Prime Minister said that both nations are among the world's most youthful societies, are major maritime powers and represent a strong voice of the global south. Prime Minister said that the relationship between the two countries goes beyond the sea, as they also share a common history and cultural connect.
भारत दुनिया का वो देश है जो विस्तारवाद नहीं, विकासवाद की नीति पर चलता है और इसलिए हम भारत में कहते हैं, सबका साथ, सबका विकास। हमारी राजधानियां भले ही हजारों किलोमीटर दूर हो, लेकिन समुद्र में हमारे बीच केवल 150 किलोमीटर की ही दूरी है। दूसरे देशों में समुद्र भले ही सीमाओं और दूरियों का कारण रहा हो, लेकिन भारत और इंडोनेशिया के बीच समुद्र दूरी का प्रतीक नहीं रहा। समुद्र हमारे बीच एक सेतु है। ये हमारे साझा भविष्य का केंद्र है। इंडिया, इंडोनेशिया और इंडियन ओशन, ये नाम हमारे आपसी जुड़ाव की गवाही देते हैं। हजारों वर्षों तक हमारे पोर्ट्स दुनिया को जोड़ते रहे।
Prime Minister Modi said further that India and Indonesia will strengthen their centuries-old civilizational ties by connecting them with the aspirations of the younger generation. Prime Minister welcomed a new era in India-Indonesia partnership and unveiled the Ganga Mahakam vision to deepen bilateral cooperation and shape a shared future.
मैं भारत इंडोनेशिया साझेदारी के एक नए युग का आह्वान करता हूं। गंगा और महाकाम की धाराओं की तरह हमारी सभ्यताओं ने सदियों से विचारों, आस्था, व्यापार और संस्कृति को जोड़ा है। आज उसी ऐतिहासिक प्रवाह को भविष्य की नई ऊर्जा देने के लिए मैं आप सभी के समक्ष गंगा महाकाम विजन प्रस्तुत करना चाहता हूं। ये विजन हमारे साझेदारी को केवल वर्तमान की आवश्यकताओं तक सीमित नहीं रखता। यह आने वाली पीढ़ियों के लिए शांति, समृद्धि, सुरक्षा और शेयर्ड प्रोग्रेस का मार्ग प्रशस्त करता है।
Also, Prime Minister Modi and Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto held official talks in both restricted and delegation-level formats in Jakarta on Tuesday. The leaders reviewed the entire gamut of the comprehensive strategic partnership encompassing trade and investment, defense and security, maritime cooperation, digital and financial technology, energy, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, among others. The two leaders welcomed the launch of Indonesia Open Network based on Open Network for Digital Commerce of India. To mark the centenary of Guru Rabindranath Tagore's visit to Indonesia in 2027, Prime Minister Modi announced that the two countries would jointly celebrate the occasion as Tagore Devantara Year for Cultural and Educational Diplomacy. The leaders also exchanged perspectives on regional and global issues of mutual interest. They discussed further strengthening of ASEAN-India Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. So, India and Indonesia took a step towards deepening their strategic partnership with the exchange of a series of agreements and legal instruments today. The initiatives span defense, maritime security, space cooperation, critical minerals, technology, infrastructure and cultural conservation. The agreements include cooperation in the exploration and peaceful use of outer space, Memorandum of Understanding on Maritime Safety and Security. Another MOU signed include cooperation on disaster management, critical minerals and technology for resilient supply chains, telecommunications technologies and services, and research technology and innovation. Following the success of India's indigenous defense systems, Indonesia will expand its BrahMos missile inventory, with India providing additional missile batteries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was conferred with Indonesia's highest civilian honour, the Bintang Adipurna of the Republic of Indonesia Award. Prime Minister Modi dedicated this award to the people of India, saying it is a testament to the enduring civilizational ties between the two democracies.
ये सम्मान कोटि-कोटि भारतवासियों का है। इंडोनेशिया के लोगों की भावनाओं का है। भारत और इंडोनेशिया के ऐतिहासिक और आत्मीय संबंधों का है। मैं प्रेसिडेंट प्रबोवो जी, इंडोनेशिया की सरकार और यहां की जनता का हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
Stone carvings in temples across India are known to attract tourists, historians and devotees alike. But in Prambanan temple complex in Indonesia, entire Ramayana is depicted through stone carvings, a symbol of tradition and culture that has stood the test of time.
Do you know you can actually walk through the story of Ramayana here at the Prambanan temple complex? Well, the story of Ramayana is familiar to many across the world. But here at the Prambanan temple complex, this story is brought to life through intricate stone carvings that have stood the test of time for over 1,000 years.
The relief panels at Prambanan depict key episodes from the Ramayana. As visitors move around the temple in the prescribed direction, the carvings unfold the story panel by panel. Created more than 1,000 years ago, these intricate reliefs are not only remarkable works of art, but also reflect the cultural exchanges that shaped Southeast Asia over the centuries. Even today, the Ramayana continues to hold a special place in Indonesia's cultural landscape through temple art, dance, and storytelling traditions, making Prambanan one of the most significant heritage sites in the region.
For visitors from India and across the world, these timeless carvings is a powerful reminder of the shared cultural legacy that continues to unite people across borders. With camera person Kuldeep and Ashish, this is Siddharth Bharadwaj reporting for DD India from Prambanan Temple Complex, Central Java, Indonesia.
NATO Chief Mark Rutte called for a transatlantic defence industrial revolution and urged defence companies to take more risks with their investments. Speaking at a NATO Defence Industry Forum in Ankara, Rutte told industry leaders that the demand is there and industry across all of the nations represented at the summit must be ready to take more risk. The statement comes as NATO leaders have begun unveiling big arms deals worth tens of billions of dollars in Turkey, signalling to the US that allies are spending more on Europe's defence ahead of a summit with President Trump. Rutte said that the alliance saw $37 billion in investments just last year to boost its defence industrial base.
We are on the cusp of the transatlantic defence industrial revolution. I'm asking you to take a leap and show our people that we are ready and capable to protect them anywhere at any time. And show Russia and all those watching today that the transatlantic defense industrial base is mobilizing with purpose.
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump reached Ankara for a NATO summit in the Turkish capital. On to Europe now. German businesses aren't known for sounding the alarm on democracy, but a new report suggests that that's changing the trend. Companies surveyed by the Bertelsmann Foundation warn that rising pressure on Germany's democracy threatens the rule of law, economic freedom, and the predictability they rely on. DW's Chiponda Chimbelu joins me from Berlin now on the story. Hi, Chiponda. So what's driving this shift, rising pressure on Germany's democracy?
Well, businesses say that democracy is one of the key advantages of doing business here in Germany, and that is according to the results of a survey of around 900 German companies by Bertelsmann Foundation. Now, the companies surveyed said that the loss of trust in democratic institutions in the country is especially troubling. 9 in 10 companies believe that this trend is a threat to democracy, and they also perceive social polarization and economic weakness as risks. Now, this report comes at a time when we are in the run-up to 3 federal state elections later in the summer, and those elections will be seen as a bellwether for the popularity of the ruling coalition of conservatives and social democrats. Now, the most recent polls show that the populist far-right AfD, which is also known for its anti-immigration rhetoric, is now leading the polls. It is now more popular than the conservatives, so the parties that have long been a mainstay of the German political landscape are facing pressure.
Okay, Chiponda, also tell us, what are companies really calling for here?
Well, businesses here want to be in a democracy that visibly addresses ongoing economic challenges. Now, last week, the ruling coalition finally announced a slew of much-awaited reforms, but it took them much longer to do that because it was difficult for the Conservatives and the Social Democrats to reach an agreement. And that's also because these parties are facing more competition, especially from the far-right AfD. Now, the AfD is yet to offer solutions that would be welcomed by businesses here in Germany. And at its last AfD party convention over last weekend, co-leader Alice Weidel reaffirmed its ambitions to govern Germany, but she did not propose any specific policy measures. A fragmentation of Germany's political landscape could lead to gridlock, and a country facing multiple challenges, which include the loss of industrial jobs, an aging population, and increasing geopolitical strife abroad. Of course, a country needs to be able to respond to those challenges swiftly and decisively for it to be able to have a predictable business environment.
Okay, we leave it here. Thank you, Chipona Chimbelu, reporting from DW Berlin. Moving on now, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met Bahrain's Deputy Prime Minister Khalid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa on Tuesday, with both leaders reaffirming their commitment to strengthening bilateral ties. The discussions focused on expanding cooperation across a range of sectors, while the two sides also exchanged views on the evolving regional situation. President of India Draupadi Murmu unveiled and flagged off the trophies of the Durand Cup Football Tournament 2026 at a function held at Rashtrapati Bhavan Cultural Centre in New Delhi. She said that the significance of sporting spirit is not limited to sports alone, and it teaches us the values of equality, cooperation, and remaining steadfast even in adverse circumstances. She underlined that the country is moving forward with the goal of transforming India into a developed country by 2040.
वो लोगों को एक दूसरे से जोड़ता है। खिलाड़ियों का अच्छा प्रदर्शन सभी खेल प्रेमियों को उत्साहित करता है। खेल भावना का महत्व केवल खेलों तक सीमित नहीं है। ये एक महत्वपूर्ण जीवन मूल्य है जो हमें समानता, सहयोग और विपरीत परिस्थितियों में भी दृढ़ बने रहने की सीख देता है। हम वर्ष 2047 तक भारत को विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने के लक्ष्यों के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
Also, let's tell you about a government scheme. The Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, ECLGS 5.0, is providing a major liquidity boost to businesses affected by the West Asia geopolitical situation. Since its launch, more than 4.11 lakh guarantees have been issued, with the total guaranteed amount crossing 1.55 lakh crore rupees, helping businesses manage cash flow challenges and maintain operations. The scheme continues to be driven by the MSME sector, with 98% of the guarantees issued benefiting small businesses and 82% of the guaranteed amount going to the micro, small and medium enterprises. The government is also expanding awareness through nationwide outreach programs to ensure eligible borrowers and lending institutions can fully utilize the scheme. The nationwide Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam campaign is gathering momentum in Delhi, with efforts underway to turn the tree plantation drive into a mass movement for environmental conservation. As part of the initiative, Home Affairs and Cooperation Minister Amit Shah planted a sapling at Delhi's Nanakpura Ridge. The event, attended by Chief Minister Rekha Gupta, cabinet ministers and other dignitaries, was organized to boost the capital's Mission 70 Lakh Plantation Drive and promote a greener and more sustainable Delhi. And next, updates from FIFA World Cup. Belgium's Charles de Ketelaere scored twice to take his country into the World Cup quarterfinals, handing co-hosts the United States of America a 4-1 thrashing in their round of 16 tie on Monday, despite the controversial inclusion of previously suspended Florent Balogun. De Ketelaere poached two first-half goals in the 9th and the 33rd minutes, the second coming 61 seconds after the US equalized. Malik Tillman's deflected free kick brought the home side level in the 31st minute. US's elimination means all three co-hosts are now out of the tournament, after Canada and Mexico also lost in the last 16 round. And as we close, we take you to Pampalona's San Fermin Festival. It began on Monday as more than 10,000 revelers gathered in the consistorial square, raising red handkerchiefs and cheering, "Long live San Fermin." Firecrackers marked the start of the 9-day celebration, famous for its traditional bull races. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on your fingertips. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.